They took that to heart. They were pissed. It blew up. Their defense still was trash, so I still don't know what the hell he's talking about. But they did win.
Okay, yeah, I read that. I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, they did. They did win, and that's where I have to be quiet. But in terms of that defense, 550 yards, I can't.
To go to a school and not beat your rival, and you got to live with that for the rest of your life. That's got to suck.
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Hey, you know, actually, too, I was on Twitter this morning and I seen some comments that you made. I ain't trying to take over your show, but I just seen some comments.
Please do. We got 2 hours here.
About what?
You said something about one of the Michigan State players from back. Was that this year?
Oh, you talking about Xavier Henderson?
Is that? I don't know his name. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't know anybody's name.
So we said last year jokingly. Should I go into a little bit?
Go for it, baby.
I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah. So we said we were joking. When you do a show and you play banter, it's rivalry week. You know, you joke on State, they joke on Michigan. You know how it goes. So we were joking and we said, so you can't even name anybody on their defense. We're joking. And I asked Ryan, I said, can you name anybody on defense? He plays along. He says no. Oh, they
trying
took
to make
that.
a point.
They took that to heart. They were pissed. It blew up and all this thing. So after they win, Xavier Henderson says, "Oh, Mike Hart. Oh, Braylon Edwards. Oh, Taylor Lewan." And to that, he said, "I bet you know who Chuck Brantley is now." I said, "Actually, I still don't, because I said y'all defense was trash. And last year, Michigan State allowed 550 yards, 384 yards to a quarterback that hadn't had more than 200 yards that season. Their rush offense, defense sucked. Their defense still was trash." So I still don't know what the hell he's talking about. But they did win.
Okay, yeah, I read that. I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, they did. They did win, and that's where I have to be quiet. But in terms of that defense, 550 yards.
You know the guy now? Do you know him now?
No, I don't. Well, Xavier Henderson's actually a good player, but he's hurt. The other dude, man, he hasn't had a tackle since that game.
You know, we always expected to beat Michigan State. You know, the last couple times last year, we should have beat Michigan State last year, and we gave up the game. And, you know, it's something that they hold on to. And I got to hear it all year on Facebook. Man. You know, one thing about some of the former Michigan State players that we played against, you know, they hold on to those days of Michigan State beating us now because they didn't beat us back then.
Sucked.
So every time that Michigan lose the state, I just got to hear it. Now, when we win, we talk about it for a week. That's the end of it. We move on. Yeah. But them, we need to get this win because I don't want to hear that.
And just to highlight kind of what he's saying, you know, Braylon Edwards never lost to Michigan State. LaMarr Woodley never lost to Michigan State. I mean, and to think that they have kind of flipped the switch here and have won 10 of the last 14 games in this series, you know, wrap your head around that aspect of it, LaMarr.
I can only imagine what that feel like to go to a school and not beat your rival, and you got to live with that for the rest of your life. That's got to suck.
Yeah.
That's got to suck.
It's got to be terrible.
No, 100%. And the thing about Michigan State, I don't make any excuses. Like, Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio, like what they did in 2008 moving forward, man, it was just the perfect time in the Eastern Division in the Big Ten. You look at what Michigan did. They hired Rich Rodriguez. They lose their identity. Then they hired Brady Hoke. Michigan's trying to figure out who the hell they are. Penn State gets in trouble. We don't have to talk about how Penn State gets in trouble. Even Ohio State went through their thing with Jim Tressel where they got into a little bit of trouble. They had to fire Jim Tressel, etc. So a lot of these 3-star athletes that they say they were getting a lot of those 4-star athletes that Michigan couldn't get because nobody wanted to play for Rich Rod. They were getting the 4-star athletes that Penn State couldn't get because nobody wanted to be on probation. So it was a perfect storm for Michigan State to have success.
LaMarr, talk to me about how closely you follow this current Michigan team and how good you think they are.
Ooh, I don't follow too close. I stay busy doing
I just saw you at the game.
Yeah, shit. Excuse me. I was at the game.
It's our show.
But I was enjoying the game. You know, when we come back sometimes, you get a chance to kick it with guys you haven't seen in a while. I get to see you. I get to see some of our former players. And we spend so much time talking that you really miss the game. Even big games like Penn State, we up there in the box. We're talking the whole time while everybody enjoying the game, and we might see a last-second play. You know, but the run game, I've been enjoying the running backs. So I've been enjoying. Now that I have watched, I'm a defensive guy, but the running backs, because my man Mike Hart back there coaching.
That's what's up.
So I love seeing that. Like the running backs really been getting after it.
Let me ask you this, L. We've never really talked about that in detail. I mean, we did the one time we came over to the crib and we watched the Michigan State game. But when did this come about in terms of your creative vision, in terms of what you wanted to do with directing, getting behind the camera, etc., and also you being on Ballers? Was this part of rubbing elbows and rubbing shoulders with that plan?
You know what? This kind of started for me when I got to the University of Michigan. Like I wanted to major in.
Slept on my couch, by the way.
I wanted to major in graphic arts and design, but at that time, you know how the football schedule is. You can't really do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so once I got drafted and I went to Pittsburgh, I started thinking about like my career like after the game. So I started doing radio shows every week. I had a radio show every Tuesday, I think. 1 hour radio show was fun. I did another TV show like the year after during the off season. I'll take advantage of like any opportunity where I can be around some media stuff, possibly thinking about going into broadcasting. So a lot of opportunities came about. Then like in 2009, I got tired of like people telling me what to do and what to say when I'm on air. So I produced a show called the LaMarr Woodley Show. It was on YouTube. I had my brother do an opening song for the show. I created an opening for the show, and my show was always at a different location because I wanted to highlight different areas in Pittsburgh that necessarily didn't get highlighted, but those communities supported us. So I did the LaMarr Woodley Show, put it on YouTube. It was fun. After that, I produced some pilot shows. Then I wrote something in 15, and I started writing stuff. And I just really started building up my production company. So like, even like doing the Super Bowl runs, I would always do stuff like Maximum Magazine. I was on like Rip the Runway, music videos. I had a chance to go on Ballers, like just to get that experience of really just being on and seeing what's going on behind the scenes. And then in 2017, when I finished playing with the Arizona Cardinals, I had a show on NFL Network called Tackle My Ride.
I saw that.
Tackle My Ride. It was sort of like Pimp My Ride. I was exhibit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know much about cars, but I did the best that I can do in my exhibit role. And it was a great show that was on for 2 years. And I've just learned so much from being behind the scenes and everything. And I said, like, I wanted to do that more. I wanted to be more behind the scenes. I love behind the scene work because you don't see how much work goes in behind the scenes. You know, like behind the scenes here making the show go, people forget about that and they think about the stars in front of the camera. You know? So
we love you, man.
I started doing that, and
this is easy.
It's been fun. It's been great for me.
You basically used football as a vehicle for other things, really. I mean, cognizant of hey, you know, there's going to be a time where I'm going to have the rest of my life. I got to figure out what I kind of want to do after football.
Man, one thing about it, if you can play football and be a student athlete in college, you can do anything. You will run through a brick wall. It doesn't matter if the weather outside, you got to play. If you hurt, get down to the building. If you sick, get down to the building.
100%.
You know the mindset that you got to have. So now when I come into this world, it's nothing about physical no more. It's all about thinking and mental. And now I can stay up late. I can work on Christmas days. So it's like just that drive in another field where now it's not about your physical ability when you're out here competing. You're competing against everybody.
Right.
You know, and it's fun.
Sounds very much like Dwayne Johnson and $7 production, man. That's all I'm saying. and you see how well he's doing. It reminds me of the same thing, Ryan.
I'm having some fun.
You know, and you know, you had mentioned going to the game against Penn State, talking to some of your former teammates and stuff like that. When you guys get together, what's the conversation like? Are you talking about football a lot of the time? You talking about what the guys are doing now? Is it a combination of the two?
It's a combination of the two. Just like when me and Braylon, we seen each other earlier. We're talking about the AFC Championship game when the Steelers beat the Jets to go to the Super Bowl.
What's that like playing each other in that game?
You say what's up before the game, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. But then after that, you're going to feel this business. If I got to crack back on LaMarr, he's my boy, I got to do it. If he sees me come across the middle, please believe he's trying to take my head off. But you respect it, and then after the game, you say, man, good stuff, man. I hope you guys bring home the Super Bowl, and you go about your business, though. Yeah,
and the thing is, you had no choice but to fall in line because they was another rival with us with the Cleveland Browns at the time when we played Braylon when he was in Cleveland. And a lot of the Pittsburgh guys wanted to knock Braylon head off because they said he talked a lot. So I had to fall in line with the Pittsburgh guys, and if Braylon come across the middle, I gotta take him out too.
I didn't the reason why I talk so much to the Steelers is one, like you gotta talk in that game to like talk yourself up, because like it's cold, it's black and yellow. They play that sticks renegade in the start of the fourth quarter defense, which is always scary. And those guys hit hard. So if you out there just taking the hits and not saying nothing, they know they got you. So I talk just to let them know, no, I'm here.
You was the only one that talked. You was the only one.